Alright guys, it's Jason here with RPM, and today we're going to be installing the RPM clutch fan into this KRX. So these will fit 2-seat and 4-seat models. You can pick them up at RPMSxS.com. And let's jump into the installation. It's super easy. We're jumping into the installation of the clutch fan on the KRX. The first thing we're going to do is remove this top cover. It's going to expose the clutch intake tubes, and then we are going to loosen the clutch intake tube. So first thing first, let's get this cover off. We're going to remove this worm gear clamp, loosen this Phillips, and this tube will simply pull out. Alright guys, now we're going to remove the lower clamp holding that plastic clutch tube in. It is located up in there. Alright guys, with that lower clamp loose, we're just simply going to remove the tube now. Alright guys, so to install the clutch fan, we're going to be cutting this rubber tube, and we're also going to be cutting this piece of plastic. The rubber tube is super easy. You're going to cut it on this line right here, just the whole way around. You'll cut it, we'll reuse our clamp right there, and that will give us some space there, and then we're going to cut the plastic tube to gain the remaining space to fit our clutch fan. And from here, we're going to be cutting 2 inches from the front to the back. I like to use a set of calipers to take that measurement. All right, guys, now that you've got your rubber tube cut and your plastic tube cut, it's time to start assembling it. The first thing I like to do is install the clutch fan into the rubber hose. I kind of go in from the back here and just push it, and it goes right on. And then I will actually get this all straight and even, make sure it's straight the whole way around. And then we will set the hose clamp in there, but not tighten it. And then we'll move on to this tube, and what we'll do is I'll put the hose clamp on, I'll put the silicone on, I'll actually push the silicone past where we need to be. It kind of just gives me some working room, and then I will slide the silicone onto the fan, and then from there we'll tighten things down. So clamp, silicone, I'll even throw the other clamp on, and we'll start to reassemble everything. Alright guys, with everything sitting here loose, we're going to reinstall the tube into the factory boot down there and not tighten anything. It'll still be loose. We'll come up here, we'll drop the Phillips in, and we'll drop the factory rubber tube back into here, and then we'll start fitting everything together loosely. All right, now that we got the housing in place, everything is kind of sitting here loose. We're going to make sure we're all tucked into this housing good. And then from here, we want to make sure that we're pulling the silicone from the back all the way forward onto the clutch fan. All right, from here, how I like to tighten these down is I'll tighten this one first. I'll pull the clutch fan all the way into here. I'll tighten this clamp back down, and then I will tighten this one. And I always leave about 1/8 to 1/16 of an inch gap on the edge of the silicone because you don't want the clamp squeezing off. When you go to tighten this last clamp, you'll notice that the fan is actually touching the plastic. You'll want to pull it away just a hair and then tighten the clamp. You don't want the plastic tube hitting the inside of the fan all the time. All right, guys. The cool thing about the KRX is that they have these factory power plugs, and that's exactly what we're going to plug into. So we're going to take the fan harness, plug it in there. That's 12-volt keyed power. And then from there, we're just going to zip tie back and take out our slack. All right, guys, on the KRX, you've actually got this clamp here. I just kind of undo it, and this is actually where I just install the KRX. Instead of zip tying it throughout, I just install it right there, and it pulls the slack out of the way, keeps everything clean. And that's the install for your RPM KRX clutch fan. From here, it's time to run it.